Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, good evening, no matter where are you from. Thanks for taking the time today to join us to learn everything you should know about Mozilla enabling add-ons on Firefox for Android. Today, we have three speakers, myself, Shane, and Simeon. I will run through the content of this slide deck, and Shane and Simeon will take instead a stab to the Q&A session. Feel free to ask questions at any time. We have in background our community manager at Sullivan that will monitor and bring questions up to the attention of the speaker. I'm Giorgio Natili, Director of Engineering for Firefox Desktop. I own add-ons, localization, and desktop integrations for Firefox, and super excited to have all of you here with me today. I would like to give a chance to Shane and Simeon to introduce themselves, and then we'll jump into it. Shane.
Hello, I'm Shane Caraveo, and I'm the engineering manager for the web extensions group in Add-ons. And we work on all the frameworks and APIs and everything that makes it possible for you to install add-ons into Firefox. Simeon.
Hi, everybody. My name is Simeon Vincent. I'm a developer relations engineer working on add-ons at Firefox. If you're not familiar with that title, basically I work on the documentation samples and tools that help you build extensions. And I work in collaboration with two other folks here, as well as a number of other people behind the scenes.
Thank you for introducing yourself, Simeon and Shane. And just to be sure that it's clear, they are the stars. I'm just holding the slides today. And it's also great to have Shane, because Shane is representing a team that, in conjunction with the Android team of Mozilla, made a very impressive timeline to release add-ons on Android. But let's jump into it. Today we'll cover Android, why we're doing it now, and why we're releasing extensions specifically on that platform, what is changing in our platform and in our app that is enabling us to release add-ons on Android, which are the goals that we have for this release, the user experience. So there will be a sneak peek of what you can see already in nightly and beta, starting from Firefox 1.19, of how you install and manage extensions. We'll share with you the next steps that are happening to get to the release. And then we have some call to actions if you would like to help and contribute to the project. And finally, question and answer. Question and answer is when I will get out of the screen and Shane and Simeon will answer whatever questions you have. So why Android and why now? There are many reasons why we're doing Android and why we're doing now. First of all, Android is the most diffused operating system, and it's also open enough to enable Mozilla to operate with add-ons inside Android. This is because on Android, we can leverage our own rendering engine that is Gecko. Even more, it's because we truly believe that it's important to have an open ecosystem. At this point, add-ons are available only on desktop and are not available on Android. And this for us was not enough. We want our ecosystem to be open and to be accessible for everybody. At the same time, we want this customization experience to be secure. So that's why we worked very hard to find a balance between innovation and Mozilla operating values. Mozilla operating values are the foundations of our work. We are committed to build an internet and to support an internet that includes all the peoples from all over the world, that promote civil discourse, and that it's very much focused on individual expression. This is why extensions are such a critical component of the Firefox user experience, and why extensions are such a critical part of the mobile user experience. We believe that individuals can express themselves through customization. Customization can be everything. It can be an extra feature that you don't have in the browser, but that you want. It can be something that is helping you to access content if you have any disability or any special needs. It can be your desire to be protected by advertisement or by any tracking mechanism, everything. through customization of your mobile browsing experience, you express yourself. And that's why we strongly believe at Mozilla that this is paramount for all the users. Why Android? Again, because we meet our users where they are and where they need us. And Android is currently, if I remember correctly, 67% owns 67% of the market on mobile. And we want to be there. We want to be with you. We want to be wherever you are, and we want to help you to customize your experience and to achieve your goals. Also, we are observing a continuous growth in the mobile marketplace. Firefox, it's a globally available software like Android, but there is roughly 20% growth of Firefox on mobile in the past years, and we want to be as much as possible close to our users. But how Firefox Android changed in the past years to help us to extend add-on support? First of all, we have a very much more mature multi-process architecture in place in Android in Firefox for Android. That was a result first of a reaction to Spectre and Meltdown in 2018, where the entire Firefox platform, the entire Gecko rendering platform, moved to a more consistent and solid multi-process architecture. The same happened in parallel in Android, and now we have multi-processors that are not something new, but that are properly handled. What does it mean, properly handled? It means that whenever you run an extension and you have an extension running in a separate process, the life cycle of the process that can be crash, can be being moved to foreground or in background, it's handled properly by the browser. So there was a huge improvement that happened from a platform standpoint that happened not only thankfully for the Android contribution, but also because the web extension team was able to influence decisions and to consolidate and build additional support in the web extension framework for Android. The Android life cycles is nothing more than a series of states in which your application can be. Your application can be launched, used, closed, in background, foreground, and many. To support that paradigm that is completely different from what a web extension experience on desktop, we introduced event pages. Event pages basically respond to events such clicks, page loads, and tab switches, and help you to manage the life cycle of your add-ons. But again, it's completely different. On desktop, you have Firefox running, and your process stays up until Firefox stays up. On Android, the operating system can make arbitrary decisions for you and decide to kill a process because it's using too many resources, or to kill an entire app because it's in background, and the operating system gives precedence to the foreground applications. So the mix of the Android lifecycle and event page are a perfect mix to support all the events that you need to delight your users on Android. Another important aspect is that now, with the changes that have been done on Firefox for Android and in the web extension framework, we can better manage the use case of low resources. It's not only that the process is getting restarted when needed. It's not only that the process is properly managed. There is a user choice that is very important that is happening now. If the operating system is killing the process for some reasons, whatever reason it is, for more than 5 times, then you will be asked and offered the opportunity to kill the web extension process or to keep it going. So it's your choice. It's not anymore just the operating system that killed the process. There is a framework that restarts the process, and you make an informed decision if you want to keep going it or not. Let's say that you're using a VPN. And although the VPN is using, in an extension, is using several resources, you want it to keep going for whatever reason. It's your choice. It's not the operating system, it's not the app that is deciding for you. Which goals we had when we planned this release? First of all, we want to enable our open ecosystem on mobile devices. So the openness was for us a very big driver. Add-ons are like apps that run in the browser. The same concept that is true for desktop, it's true on mobile. Opening up what Firefox already supports on desktop, on mobile, for us was an opportunity to unleash developer creativity, engage our users, and build a community of Firefox users that truly believe in the principles that Firefox stands for the security, for the privacy that Firefox stands for, in a highly customizable and to some extent fun environment to be with. Opening Android add-ons to all the developers is a big step forward. Add-ons are available since a few years in Android, but in a very limited number. If I remember correctly, we had 22 up to a few weeks ago. This was a curated collection. There was a manual process to get this collection working into Firefox and was not open. And this was not aligning with our principles. At this point, we are enabling any developer to build and make their own extension available on Android. There are, of course, API that are available, others that are still missing or that we're still planning to work on. But there are guidelines, there are tutorials, there are webinars like this that will help you to move into this open ecosystem. We also think that it's paramount to be really open, to offer support to the community that wants to build solutions around our tools. We have a set of new resources that are getting published as we speak, and also that have been published in the past days, like testing recommendations to double check that your extension is working on Android, and a browser API compatibility table that tells you which web extensions API are compatible and are actually available right now on Android. We also had to make some bold decisions in order to make add-ons available right now on Android. For instance, the boldest decision we made is that the ecosystem should be deployed on Android as it is today. This means that some API are missing, and we acknowledge that, but we made an analysis, and we had enough good coverage of add-ons through the API that we are enabling. Event pages are part of these technical constraints, or actually event pages are not technical constraints, are a fun way to work, but are a change compared to background persistent background scripts. And we had to rely on the manifest version 2. There was work last year to move to manifest version 3 to change the permissions and the metadata around your add-on. We had to keep MV2 in place to be sure that we were able to offer the compatibility that was needed to hit the market now. But of course, that's just a start. There is more that is coming, and we will plan and publish plans to support Manifest v3 and to expand the API support. To do this, we need your help. We need your feedback. We need to understand from you what you need us to focus next. We may pick an API that is wonderful to work on that has not relevancy for you. So your voice is very important. That's why we are starting this series of webinars with question and answer to start the process of listening and engaging with all of you. Let's take a look to the user experience. Let's learn how to find, install, and manage add-ons on Android devices. Our goal was to keep the experience as much as possible consistent with the desktop experience, to reduce the learning curve that each individual, each add-on user has in order to enable add-ons on their phone. On top of the recommended extensions that you see on the right, the user will get access to all the add-ons that the developers make and mark compatible for Android. If you want to test this out, please go and install Firefox 1.19 beta or nightly, and you will be able to start seeing more content in this screen. Search will work in a very similar way to what we have right now on desktop, and you will get autocomplete. Of course, it's helpful, especially on mobile, on these keyboard that are so different from a desktop or a laptop keyboard. And results will be organized by category, relevance, and name, similar to what you have on desktop. When you install, the experience is not that different, except that the permissions are asked at the bottom of your Firefox Android experience rather than top right as it happened on desktop. The user is prompted to confirm the permissions that are required during installation, and the extension can request optional permission at runtime. The Android Add-ons Manager, it's pretty new and shiny on mobile. Paradigm is the same, but you can access now to your add-ons and start to manage all the aspects of the add-ons. The add-ons can be added to private view, can be enabled, can be disabled, just in case you are encountering any problem. And you will see in the add-on manager notifications of extensions that are being blocked, because in background, Mozilla is trying to keep the ecosystem as much as possible secure and safe for the users. Toward the release. So we haven't published yet an official date of release, but we can say that the release is happening this year. Before the end of the year, you will have officially supported in release for add-ons. That was a challenging timeline. And during this challenging timeline, we had to preserve user experience and safety. How we get there? So first of all, we had a great contribution and cross-functional work between the web extensions and Android engineering team. The team focused on the critical features that we needed to expand add-ons on Android. At the same time, we started to rebuild and revamp processes to support developers and community. We enabled and created forums to discuss about Android and add-ons. We started to publish more regularly blog posts, and we set up office hours and many other mechanisms. What was important for us for all this time was stability, security, and performance. How we get there? We started enabling add-ons, and actually, we started enabling the new multi-process architecture on Firefox for Android in nightly, beta, and release version. Firefox 118 release contains the new architecture. So if you're using the 22 extensions that are available right now, you are leveraging the new architecture. We created monitors, we had experiments in place to be able to understand also if our safeguard metrics were impacted and if there was any churn on our users. And everything is looking good so far. The experiment is keep going on, and you are most likely being hit by that and not experience more crashes. Actually, the crash rate is very low, one of the lowest that I've seen in my entire career. We enabled the content on nightly and beta release. We did nightly first and then beta, of course, but what was important is that now in nightly and beta, you have more than 75 extensions to test and to play with, compared to the original 22. To get to that level of confidence of releasing that 75 extensions, we had one of our QA team deployed to run safety, to run some sanity tests on add-ons to understand if they were rendered correctly on mobile, if they were working, installing or not installing. And we categorized these extensions in 3 different buckets: working, working but need adjustment, and not working. The working ones are the one, The working one are the ones that are already published. The one that needed some adjustment got a very high level of attention. We reached out to developers, we explained what we found, and we got an impressive response from developers that jumped on fixing and committing to fix issues to be part of this release. On top of that, given that we were also testing for performance and stability, we enabled automated functional test and performance test with extensions enabled. This means that when we run the performance test, there is the performance test without extensions, and then there are extension enabled, and the extension process enabled, and then some extensions enabled as well. And we didn't observe any serious degradation in performance or stability. The developer outreach, it's in progress as we speak. We have 2 people that are dedicated to do that and to help every single developer that is interested to do this journey with us. What is important, again, is the amount of content that is coming through. We have 75 add-ons now. We are targeting to have 200 plus for our GA date. That doesn't mean that can be thousands. Again, it's an open ecosystem and we trust our developers. If you want to mark your extension as compatible for Android, you can, and you can increase the number of content. But we also recommend that you are very responsible in doing that. To do this, we made changes in our developer tools. And if you mark your add-on as compatible for Android, you will be asked to be sure that you verified some basic guidelines that we followed for testing. Screen resolution, viewport being specified in your markup, performance, functionalities, and so on. One other aspect that is interesting about this release is that we have introduced this concept of threshold. And if the extensions process crash more than a specific threshold when it's in background or foreground, we let the user know that something is up. Specifically, when the app is in foreground, you will be asked if you want to keep it going or not. So far, all our monitors are indicating that there is not an exceeding number of crashes that pass this threshold. That means that the solution seems very stable. More data will come. We have, again, nightly and beta going on. We have an experimenting release. Most likely by the end of this month, we'll have a full picture and statistical significant data to make some announcement about the crash rates that we're observing and to communicate back to all of you the stability of the platform. At the same time, a lot of users are helping us with crowd testing. We asked the community to contribute to testing, offering a specific form to fill to give us any feedback. I don't know the exact number at this point of feedback that we got, but the response was good. We are searching for more, so please, 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 at the end of this slide, there will be also a link to how to do crowd testing on Firefox for Android. And don't miss the opportunity to do your contribution and to leave your mark into this release. Developer outreach, I'm very excited about what we are doing. First of all, we have one-on-one email support for all the developers that are part of this initial outreach. And we created a new Discord channel that is dedicated to mobile and add-ons. We have office hours that Simeon is leading that happens periodically. There is a calendar. The link is in the slides, and slides will be available after this presentation. We have webinars. This is the first one. This is a general introduction. We'll have more technical and more in-depth webinars in the next weeks, and tutorials are coming through. There are also t-shirts floating around. So we wanted the first 200 add-ons that are market compatible for Android and verified that work properly on Android to be recognized with a t-shirt for this release. Our community manager, Ed Sullivan, is running this program. The program is published in our add-ons blog, and more links will be shared at the end of this presentation. So, next steps and call to action. Please get involved. Developers, all of you, look at our recent blog post. Take a look to the resources that we publish, how to migrate to event pages. Also, if it's not mandatory, but it's definitely a good thing to do. Look at all the opportunity to speak with the add-ons team through Simeon and or directly in our Discord channel. And invite your friends and everybody to test. The more we test, the more we'll know what is next, and the more we know what we have to work on next. With that being said, now I will let Shane and Simeon asking any questions that you may have published through YouTube or LinkedIn. Simeon or Shane?
Yes.
There are a few questions. Who wants to take the first one?
I'm going to volunteer Shane to take the first one here.
All the hard questions. Will people be able to install add-ons not from AMO using XPI files? So on desktop, well, let's back up. On AMO, we have two different styles of add-on listings, or ways to have add-ons signed. And so one is listed, where your add-on appears on AMO and users can install it from AMO, and the other is what we call unlisted. And unlisted add-ons are there so that you can get them signed, but then you self-distribute those add-ons. This can be used by enterprise organizations. It's used by maybe people just exploring add-ons and building something out for themselves or for a few friends, or smaller organizations that just want to have something internal. Right now, in order to reach the timeline that we were after, we are only supporting add-ons that are listed on AMO for installation. We will be examining what we can do to better enable more alternatives for our developers in the coming months.
The next question, you can already install add-ons provided you put them in a list, and this and link this list in the nightly build, or I believe beta as well. It'd be great if all add-ons come back into stable. More of a statement than a question, but I agree. It would be great. I'm particularly excited about this as an opportunity to give developers more control over the experience that they develop, and be able to craft experiences that aren't just like taking the current desktop and porting it, wholesale, kind of like the early mobile web that we saw, but actually having crafted extensions that look and feel like you would expect them to on a mobile device. Shane, I'll actually ask you, is it possible, or will it continue to be possible, to install arbitrary extensions that are listed on AMO? Or is it even possible today? I feel like it's not, but I'm not 100%.
Arbitrary add-ons that are listed on AMO. So if it's listed on AMO and it's been marked as Android compatible, that add-on will show up, and it shows up today for nightly and beta users. And so you can go into the add-on manager, and if you go all the way to the bottom of the add-on manager, there's a Find More Add-ons button there. That takes you to AMO, and you can search for other add-ons outside of the list that's there.
I think the key bit is, and users may not realize this, extensions that are available on Android today have been marked as Android compatible by the developer. So that experience will continue.
Yes.
Next question. Will we be able to run add-ons not marked as compatible in their manifest for Android yet, either by opening on AMO or desktop or by installing XPI? This is a little bit of a repeat of a previous question.
So the current
go ahead.
Do you mind if I take that? I'm sorry.
Please do.
Started. I thought you were asking me, and so I was just going on. The current mechanism that's been available for quite a long time to be able to put them into a list will still exist on Nightly and Beta. But installing arbitrary add-ons will likely be possible regardless through a couple of different mechanisms, but we won't necessarily expose those on AMO unless it's been marked as Android compatible.
Next question, what is the current state of Manifest v3 support? The short version is, as Giorgio touched on during the talk, our goal is to provide the platform as it exists today in Android and make that available broadly. So that means that Manifest v2 extensions with event pages are what we're currently targeting. Manifest v3 will be something we tackle in the future, and obviously we want to minimize the platform differences as much as possible and give developers as many capabilities as possible. But for now, in order to get stuff out and make regular progress, we're setting the ambitious goal of just taking what we have now and making it available as quickly as possible and safely as possible. Next question. I can't open an add-on options page from the UI from the home screen. Will this change? I'm curious exactly what this user has in mind, but it is possible to, in Android, tap the three-dot menu, go to add-on options, navigate to the add-on manager, and then for each individual add-on, you can view the options page through that UI. So I'm not sure what from the home screen in this context means. More broadly, I think this touches on the fact that app UI is a constantly evolving thing. I think we'll be looking for opportunities to, as we always are, looking for opportunities to make the experience better and provide a better both developer-facing and end-user-facing user experience. But I don't think we have anything specific to share on that front right now. Next question, will we be able to run add-ons not marked as compatible in their manifest? Oh, is this a repeat from the previous one? Not marked as compatible in their manifest yet, or either by opening AMO or desktop mode or by installing an XPI? No, the developer will need to make it to mark their extension as Android compatible. And they have some tools to set the supported version ranges for both Firefox Desktop and for Firefox for Android in order to make sure that the thing that they're developing, the extension that they're producing, actually works on the devices, that critical functionality won't be missing and have failing API calls, etc. Next question, will Android support some form of tabs API? Many tab management and saving extensions rely on these. I feel like I've been talking a lot, so I'm going to kick this one back to Shane.
Okay. There are some of the tab APIs that are available on Android already, and we do have a engineering backlog of fleshing out the tabs API. Much of the way that like the tabs API and the Windows API, for example, work is really dependent on the form factor and the functionality available within the application on different platforms. So there may be the result may be that there are some differences in those APIs in the end, but our effort is going to be on making these as much as parity as possible with desktop. So those will be things that we will be looking at addressing in the future.
And the last question that we have queued up right now, so feel free to ask additional questions if you're interested. Are there any plans to support browser action, browser_action or action in Firefox on Android instead of taking the user to a separate options page, for example, similar to what Safari does? I've kind of touched on this in a previous response that I think there are, right now, we're continuing to refine the experience, but we don't have any specific plans on the roadmap to share. I think more generally, extensions on mobile browsers are not a well-established category, and we as a community over the next few years are going to learn a lot about what people want and expect and how we can do a better job of serving user needs. But again, nothing specific at the moment to share on that front. Oh, we got a new question. When do we expect this to hit release? We are aiming to get the open ecosystem on Android publicly available by the end of the year. I don't think we have a more specific timeline at the moment to share, unless somebody else wants to jump in.
No, we don't.
Yeah.
We'll publish more details beginning of November as soon as we have done analysis on the statistical significant data that we'll get through telemetry in the next few weeks. Well, awesome.
Taking a quick look to see if there's anything else.
No, it doesn't look like. So to wrap it up, again, slides will be released. We have development resources like our Discord's instance, documentation that is available on extensionworkshop.com, and office hours that are available on extensionworkshop.com/community. Deep dive resources, just in case you want to dig even more, non-persistent background scripts, converting to event page, Firefox process model, and Gecko view thread topography are very interesting reads that I would recommend to everybody. And with that being said, I would like to thank you for attending, and thanks Shane and Simeon for your infinite support in delivering this presentation.
Absolute pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Goodbye, everyone.